What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and I am bringing you another top Pokemon card auctions of the week recap. Folks, I'm so glad you've tuned in. You're going to love this week's auction recap. The theme of this week is modern. Modern is making some big moves in both sealed product and graded cards. We're going to take a look at a few very interesting auctions there. We saw several BGS 10 Black Label slabs come through, a lot of CGC slabs. Yeah, just an amazing week for auctions. You don't want to miss it, so I'm so glad you are here. Folks, before we get started, please give the video a like, and don't forget to be a subscriber and support the channel in any way you can, particularly using my eBay affiliate link below. That would really help out a lot, so thank you so much for doing that. So folks, let's jump right into this auction recap, starting out with that modern we were just talking about. Now, the sealed modern booster boxes have come up a bit in value this past week. In particular, most notable, this Evolving Skies sealed booster box. They had a few sales this week. We saw a sale of $319, another sale of $322, another sale of $341, and then we did see a sale on PWCC of an Evolving Skies booster box for $396. To put that into perspective, it wasn't 2 months ago Evolving Skies booster boxes were selling for low 200s, like 213, 220, 223, 225. So we saw nearly or over $100 increase for this sealed booster box. And the Evolving Skies booster box is not alone. Just a couple months ago, we saw Chilling Reign, and it was selling for mid to low 80s as far as the sealed booster box. This past week, we've been seeing sales of about $138 for this box. So percentage-wise, that's a pretty massive increase for these modern booster boxes. But it wasn't just modern boxes that have increased. We saw a couple of interesting sales via graded cards. Here's a Full Art Lily from Ultra Prism in PSA 10, sold this week for $1,100. And it wasn't 2 months ago, this card was selling for about $830. So quite an increase there for this card. We also saw a pretty large sale of the Sightseer Full Art card from the Tag Team GX All-Star set. This week, one sold as a PSA 10 for $1,311. And just like the booster boxes and the Full Art Lily, a month or two ago, this card was down to about $961. So a pretty significant increase for this card as well. We saw several Black Label cards come through, folks. Here is a Radiant Charizard. Got the BGS 10 Black Label. This is from Pokemon Go. This card sold this past week for $2,275. Here we saw a Scarlet and Violet Japanese promo. Also a Black Label card featuring Pikachu and the brand new starters on there. Sold this week for $655. We saw several Black Label cards from the newest V-Star Universe set. Here is a Raikou V in Black Label condition that sold for $760. Here is a Black Label Mew from that set that sold for $811 this week. Here is the Pikachu Secret Rare card from the set that sold for $4,150. We also saw a Black Label Japanese Lugia V-Star, sold for $878 US. And then lastly, for our modern, here is a very interesting Black Star promo Mew holographic. This is from 2017, that in PSA 10 sold for $1,114 this week. Whew, Modern was making some big moves this week. Let's see if Vintage can keep up. Starting off with this first edition PSA 10 Dark Dugtrio from Team Rocket set. Sold this week for $565, which is pretty low for this card. This is a lower pop holo from this set, at least compared to the rest. We also saw a Unlimited Dark Charizard from this set sell for $1,550, while the first edition Dark Charizard sold for $4,078 US. We saw several CGC 10 WotC holos come by. Here is a first edition Misty Seadra that sold for $290. Here's a first edition Erica's Dragonair that sold for $660. Here's a PSA 10 Rockets Zapdos that sold for $836. And then we saw a PSA 9 Umbreon from Neo Discovery, first edition, sold for $930. This here, to me, is the Moonbreon. You know what I mean? Up next is a CGC 10 Perfect holographic Scizor from Neo Discovery. All 4 categories, perfect 10s. sold for $1,526. You're not going to see too many vintage WotC Hollows get the CGC 10 perfect grade. Up next, we saw a PSA 10 Hollow Dark Dragonite from Legendary Collection. This is the regular Hollow version, much lower pop than the OG Dark Dragonite from Team Rocket set. This week saw a sale of $1,400. From Skyridge, we saw this beautiful Alakazam Hollow. This is like a reimagining art of the base set Alakazam, which is awesome. This card sold this week for around $1,100. We saw a Mewtwo EX from Ruby and Sapphire sell for $1,275. Here's a Gardevoir EX from Sandstorm, sold for an even $700. We saw this Dark Tyranitar Reverse Hollow from Team Rocket Returns. It sold for $1,200 this week. Here's a Kyogre EX from Hidden Legends, sold for $350, while the Sceptile EX from Team Magma vs. Team Aqua sold for $810. We saw this Cosmos Hollow Lugia from EX Unseen Forces sell this week as a PSA 10 for $1,161. And then we saw this PSA 9 Mew Gold Star from EX Dragon Frontiers. It sold for $1,275. Here is a holographic Gyarados from Holon Phantoms, sold for $495. And then we saw this beautiful Glaceon Hollow from Diamond and Pearl Majestic Dawn. This is a Cosmos holofoil, sold for $405 this week. And lastly, for our graded cards on eBay, we saw this Ampharos Hollow from Platinum Series sell for $560. A couple of super interesting binder collections came by this week. Here is a complete first edition base set binder collection. Got all the hollows, all the commons, uncommons, sold for a grand total of $11,000. So I'm not sure if that was a good deal or not. If you take a look at the back of these cards, they are definitely loved, definitely in played condition. But it is the complete first edition base set, $11,000. What do you think, folks? Is that a good deal? Let me know. And then here we saw this person's entire Pokemon card collection, 22,000 cards total, 98% of them being pack fresh, as they say in the title. Let's go through a few of these and see what he had to offer. Just stacks of Pokemon cards there. That must have weighed a ton to try to ship that. He has them nice and organized into sets there. You just see binders on top of binders. Yeah, he looks like he has a lot of the XY, black and white, Heart Gold, Soul Silver sets. Even the earlier base set through Gym Series cards came through. And yeah, sealed product, tons of hits there. This sold for the grand total of $7,150. So whoever got this has got their hands full as far as sorting all that out. Although it does look pretty well organized, so I thought that was pretty interesting. It's even got a bunch of jumbo cards there. I'm not much of a jumbo card collector, but if you are, there's quite a bit there to choose from. Up next is our PWCC Weekly Auction Recap. We're going to start out with this first edition PSA 10 Kangaskhan Hollow. Definitely a lower pop hollow from Jungle Set. This card sold for $2,520 this week. We saw this Japanese promo Mew card. One I haven't seen very often in PSA 10 sell for $2,280. And then we saw several of these Creature Deck Corporate History cards come by. These are very, very limited cards. All of these are PSA 10. Let's go through them. Here's the Tapu Lele GX, sold for $2,760. Here we saw a Professor Oak's Hint that sold for $2,760. Here is a Uxie that sold for $3,000 even. Here is an Erica Trainer card that sold for $3,600. A Rainbow Energy here sold for $3,600 as well. And then we saw this Rocket Zapdos sold for $3,720. This Pikachu Zekrom GX card sold for $5,520. And this Mega Mewtwo EX sold for a staggering $6,600. And then lastly for these cards, we saw a PSA 9 History Gate trainer card that sold for $7,500. In the auction of the week, I'm going to give to this Japanese first edition Crystal Charizard that sold this week as a PSA 10 for $11,100. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. That's all I got for you. Let me know what you thought of all these auctions, especially those modern sales. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about all that, so let me know. I really appreciate it. Thanks again, folks, for watching. I will catch you all in my next one.